Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're talking about the 10-star KIZUNA that will be dropping very soon, the Cat Dog KIZUNA for the 6+ dual unit, and in today's video, we will be covering my Marco teams to take down assists, so you guys can get as many tickets as possible for your gains to open boxes, because you do want to try and get to box number 7, but you don't want to be using potions to do it. Now, this is a very illustrious 6+. I know a lot of people have been very excited for this one because this is the first dual unit, so make sure that you are staying on top of your assists. Make sure you guys are doing the suicide strat with your alliance, and you're farming up as many assists as possible, so that way you guys don't have to use any potions. Now, most people shouldn't have summoned on the Preperation banner. Most people should have skipped, so hopefully you guys did. I do have a one-team versus all for you guys at the end of this video as well, after I showcase the Marco teams, and we go through what each stage does. But as you guys can see on screen right now, this is the infograph for each particular stage. So huge shout out to the Bandai on OPTC Twitter for posting this. Make sure to go over there and send them some love, link in the description. And while you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button on this video, and hit that big red subscribe button. First of all, let's take a look at the quick variation. Driven Striker Slashes get their cooldowns. The downside to using Marco in this particular KIZUNA is he doesn't get cooldowns in any of the fights. The upside to Marco is he gives lots of cooldowns, so that really doesn't matter. On stage 2, you get increased damage taken for 7 turns. After 1 turn, there's 8 turns of Despair and 8 turns of Bind on Battle 3, and then the enemy will just retreat. So what you can actually do is you can actually just pass the turn and then cop the Bind in the Despair. If you kill stage 2, you take 80,000 damage, and then the enemy gives you tap timing easier for 10 turns at the start of Battle 3. Now, this 80,000 is obviously going to scale with increased damage taken, so if you do kill stage 2, be very, very careful, because that 80,000 isn't what it seems. On the final stage against the boss has immunity to everything except for defense down. Slot changes to Dex, or Dex... Slot changes... Wait, let me try and reword this. They change all slots except for Dex into Super Block. Slot change impossible for 1 perfect tap. Damage reduction over a certain amount for 5 turns, which is the threshold. And then after level 30, the slot change is Super Block for all slots, special reverse by 1 turn, and lock specials for 1 good tap. And then 5 turns of defense up. So as you can see, there's a lot of text here and there's a lot of stuff going on. But don't stress, Marco has got it covered. The team looks a little bit like this. It does use double Marco. I do have the Rakuyu support because, like, just getting that 1 turn extra cooldown on Marco is so vital for all the cooldowns, and it works out quite nicely. Now remember, Driven, Striker, and Slashers get their cooldowns, so we are building up the teams around those particular colors. Be mindful too, most people aren't going to get past level 30 for this particular KIZUNA, so don't stress on the past level 30, but this team should have it covered. To get around the Bind and Despair, because this team is just going to pass the turn, that stage 2 is kind of annoying, and the increased damage taken is, like, it's kind of annoying. So it is what it is, but if you just pass the turn, you can just remove the Bind and the Despair. It's all hunky-dory from there, and you are good to go. So to remove that, I have the Rayleigh support on Luffy, as well as the Treasure Map Luffy to remove 4 turns as well, which is always fun. Just pass the turn, don't have to worry about the 80k, and then you're pretty much Gucci from there. Utilizing Marco, though, can be a bit challenging, because if you activate Marco's auto trigger on turn 1, it's not going to pop because of the Despair moving into that final battle. So if you do use it, you have to use it on turn 1. So I think I worded that badly. If you use the auto trigger on turn 2, you're not going to get the Marco ability. So you really want to make sure with this team that you're just popping Marco's superclass on the very first turn, so that way he gets his auto trigger on turn 2. To get around the special reverse, because of this, we have Carrot. Carrot can remove the 1 turn of special reverse. Shirahoshi Mancherry, if you use their special on turn 2, is basically going to give you a full board of Rainbow Orbs. And then what you can actually do is you can just use the Perispero support, this free-to-play one, and then just tap with the Shirahoshi unit. That way you don't have to worry about losing the Rainbow Orbs. And that way you just bypass all of the Super Block Orbs, which is very, very annoying to deal with. The slot change impossible doesn't matter because, like, we have Rainbow Orbs. The Lock Orbs doesn't matter. And then to get around the defense up, we have the Onami support on Zoro Sanji. Zoro Sanji can also be our color affinity booster for Dex units. Super nice, so that way we have an orb boost with Carrot, attack boost with Marco, color affinity with Zoro Sanji, and then you have a chain boost with Marco as well. And this team works out pretty hunky-dory. You could use another unit to remove the Bind and the Despair over Luffy if you guys wanted to use something different there. But I did find that Luffy was the best option. Moving on to the next fights now, we are versing the Strength variation, and against Strength, Strength Dex, and Quick characters get their cooldowns. On stage 2, Type Orbs and Recovery become switch to unfavorable. It's 1 turn of Special Reverse, 1 turn of Good Taps with the Lock Specials, 3 turns of Decreased Chain Multiplier Growth Rate, 1 turn of a Attack Down if you're below 2.5 Chain, and then after 1 turn, you get 5 turns of Attack Down and 5 turns of Paralysis, and the enemy once again retreats. On the final stage, there is immunity except for Defense Down for 98 turns. There is a barrier for 2 Great Taps, 3 turns of that barrier. 5 turns of Special Binds, Attack Down if your chain is below 3, and then if you use percent damage, the enemy will remove all barriers, which is really, really good. So you want to try and bring someone that can actually do percent damage. On level 30 or above, the barrier tap timing gets an additional Great Tap, and then there's 5 turns of defense up once again. So as you can see, like, these fights are obviously tailor-made for Perispero with all the ore blocking shenanigans, the special reverse sort of shenanigans, and the chain boundary stuff. So as you can see, lots of, like, if you guys are building a 1-team versus all, try and bring Perispero as a friend captain, but we're obviously using Marco. So for this particular team, once again, Marco is our captain. We're using the Recuse support as always, just for that cheeky 1-turn of cooldown on the final stage. If you have your Marco Limit Break expanded, then you probably don't need it, but like, I like to include it just for the sake of the video, so that way you just don't miss out on cooldowns, because you can always change that later, right? On stage 2, to get around the special reverse, we are using the auto trigger of Marco. So once again, pop the superclass of Marco on turn 1. We have our 5 fighters, and then that way we can actually get the superclass ready on the first turn. His auto trigger will give us the special reverse, which is great. And that's where that Recuse support also comes into play, because then we don't actually have to worry about Marco losing any cooldowns as well. So very, very important that you guys have that, so you don't have to worry about it. On stage 2, we're going to use the Sabo special to get the chain boundary, giving us a 3x chain lock, going up to 15 times. But the upside to utilizing Sabo here is that we also get some tandem orbs on our, what's it called? On our Jason characters. With this particular team too, if you can't get Marco's special ready by the final stage, you can actually use his auto trigger on stage 2, so that way you get the special reverse for your fighter characters anyway, and then you get his attack boost on the final stage, if that special reverse becomes a problem. If it's not a problem, and you can get the attack boost of Marco as well, we have the support of Mr. 1 to sort of back us up here. So with Robin can remove Special Bind. She's also giving Color Affinity, which is great. She gives 1 turn of cooldown too, which is awesome, which also helps out Marco as well. And then that way, if we don't have, say we're using the Marco's auto trigger on the final stage for the attack boost, because you can't get Marco's cooldowns, you have Mr. 1 there, but if there is a clash with the chain boost that Marco gives, you can just take off the Mr. 1 support. You really don't need it. It's sort of just there just in case. Then we have Zoro and Sanji. Once again, we have the Nami support to set defense to 0. Works absolutely amazingly. And they give chain boundary as well, which is super nice for the final stage. Because if you partner them up with the Mr. 1 support or Marco, you're easily going to get above that 3 times that 3.0 chain lock. Like, even with the chain boundary of attack down. I think it's 2.5 going upwards, right? It's 2.5. Oh, it's 2.25. So you'd be a little bit short with Robin. But you could actually also use the Croc support actually on Robin. Like, if you have this Croc support, you could actually easily use this. And then you could easily just replace Sabo with someone else that just gives you tandem orbs as well. Like, that could definitely be a shout, to be like to be completely honest, because you only need to get above 2.5 and Croc automatically starts you at 2, so that's super fun. But if the Marco chain boost works, like, you'll be absolutely fine there as well. Finally, we have the I can't stand this guy Katakuri. He's a base stat booster, he's an orb booster for Powerhouse. Like, he just made the most sense to come because he also does a HP cut. The HP cut is very valuable because then it just removes the barrier on the final stage, and you will be hunky-dory from that. I hate that I'm bringing him, but he's here, and yeah, we move, we move. Alright, so moving on to the final stage now, we come up against the Int variation where Strikers, Free Spirit, and Drivens get their cooldowns. On Battle 2, it's a bit odd because your top right, bottom right, middle left get Type Orbs and Recovery turn to Rainbow. And then your top left, middle right, bottom left, Recovery and Type get turned to Block. So weird they give you Rainbow, but they also give you Block Orbs. There's 6 turns of damage reduction, and after turn 1, you get 5 turns of attack down, 4 turns of special reverse. Your specials get locked for 1 good tap, and then the enemy retreats just like the rest of the fights. Now, unlike the quick fight, we will be taking this one down. The quick fight is the only one where we plan to kill, the strength and the int variations, we do want to kill stage 2 with the Marco teams. On the final stage, the boss puts up immunity except for defense down. They make int orbs unfavorable for 9 turns, which is very annoying because Marco makes int orbs matching. You get a slot change to ints, which would have been like absolutely perfect. And then there's 5 turns of special bind, 5 turns of defense up, and an interrupt. If you slot change, all your slots get turned to int again. So very, very annoying. On 31 plus, there is 4 turns of damage reduction, 1 turn of special reverse, locking the slots at 1 good tap, and then slot change impossible for 1 good tap. So again, super, super annoying stuff. And this particular team should work, but it's going to be very iffy from level 30 plus. So if you guys have any ideas to tweak it, let me know in the comment section below. But again, we're using Marco with the Rikuyu support. Free Spirits and Driven is sort of like our team base because we are using Blackbeard. But the big thing that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using the KIZUNA Luffy on stage 2 to get around the damage reduction. With the Beppo support on Law, we can remove 6 turns, and then we can actually lock our orbs with the super type of Luffy, which is actually really fun. Once we lock our orbs, we also lock the block slots, and with the Brûlé support, we should rotate those slots into matching on the final stage, and it's not going to trigger the interrupt of the enemy. However, you do need to make sure that Law is getting a rainbow orb, so I need to do that. So that way, when he rotates his orb, it's not going to matter because he has a rainbow slot with his special. So very, very important that happens. However, once you get the super lock, I don't know if this team will actually work. Because you will lose a lot of damage with 2 units hitting without block slots. But look, at the end of the day, it might still work, and at that point, you just sort of move Sanji down, so that way your fighter character gets that extra damage thanks to the super class of Marco. Once again, we're using Marco to give us the cooldowns on turn, the final, no, wait, hang on. We're utilizing Marco's auto trigger, on the first turn, but you're saving a super class for the final stage, so that way you can give everyone, the cooldowns. Make sure to use Luffy on stage 2. Like I said, he also gives cooldowns, which will definitely help out Marco getting to the final stage. And that Rikuyu support is definitely going to help you out something fierce. To get around the damage reduction, we have the Sanji. He's also a chain boundary, but so is Law. Law's your orb booster. He can use the Beppo support. And then to get around the special bind and the defense up, we have the Blackbeard because he can set the defense to 0, which is super, super nice. He's also a base stat booster, which is fun. You'll have a lot of cooldowns with this team as well. So, like, you should be in pretty good stead to actually do quite a bit of damage with this particular team. But like I said, once you get past level 30, it might struggle. So if you do have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section below. And the final team of the video is the one team versus all. Now, I'll do a bit of a shorts on this particular team for you guys as well. Or if you guys want me to, let me know in the comment section below. I'll do a particular video just on like this one team versus all, and then some of my alliance members one team versus all as well. So that way you guys have a bit more variety if you guys would like to see that. So let me know in the comment section below, and I would happily oblige to that. But my particular one team versus all utilizes a Perospero friend captain. It does have Nami as our captain. We are using the free-to-play Udo with the Mr. 3 support. We have X-Drake, we have Kid, and then we have V2 Vivi Rebecca. Now, V2 Vivi Rebecca pretty much replaceable with anyone that can give you cooldowns if you don't have the Mr. 3 support. The idea of this particular team is on stage 2, no matter what, we're just passing the turn, but we're also using the Perospero friend captain. Utilizing Perospero is going to give us a full border orbs. We're going to get the super orb lock, which is great, and having Perospero as a friend captain avoids the special reverse. On every single stage, if you have a look here, the enemy retreats. On stage 2, there's a retreat, there's a retreat, there's a retreat. So the idea here is you don't have to take the damage on the retreat, but Uta will remove the Bind and the Despair because of her ability with double special. And then you'll also absorb the paralysis with Nami. Uta can remove 4 turns of attack down, and we have the support of Luffy on Kid for an extra turn. And then over here, the same thing applies. Uta removes the attack down, and she Uta removes the attack down, and then the Luffy support on Kid will actually help out too. The special reverse and all this is covered through Perospero, and then once you hit the final stage, you're basically fine for everything. Because you have the super orb block, you don't have to worry about super block slots, which is super nice. Nami can take care of the threshold. She can take care of the damage reduction. You don't have to worry about the slot changes. To get around the special binds, we have V2 Vivi Rebecca. They're our special bind remover. So if you guys don't have the Mr. 3 support, like I said, you can replace them with any other special mana river that can also give you cooldowns. I'm thinking something like maybe Karasu would be a great option there if you guys don't have V2 Vivi Rebecca. And then basically to cover our attack booster, we have X-Drake, and then our color affinity and orbs is done through Kid. X-Drake is also a chain boundary unit, which is awesome. Plus, he is a HP cut, so then that way we can actually avoid the barrier for that interrupt too. So that's my 1 team versus all. That's Marco getting it done once again for another KIZUNA. If you enjoyed the video, bolt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly though, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you guys are actually doing. If you guys want to see more videos on this stuff, please let me know. I'll happily oblige to try and get it done either today, tomorrow, or the next day, depending on what I'm doing with work and whatnot. Like I said, do all that fun stuff. Like the video, hit the subscribe button, enjoy your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!